the spirit of reconciliation, the new Blurt acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay respect to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today.
I can't take it anymore! Good afternoon, good evening, good day, and good morning, Blurtsters, wherever you are around the world. You are listening to the Blurt.
You are listening to the Blurt. We are coming at you on a Wednesday evening. It is 6 past 8 on a Wednesday evening, 9th of June. Should have been 8th of June, but in case you didn't know or realise or whatever, we had a massive cloud network failure last night. So we had fun getting to any information of any kind. So good evening, Wency. How are you doing on this postponed show, as it were?
Good evening, everyone, and Kexter. Yeah, it's doing well. Got to love those single point of failures on the internet. It brings half the network down.
I know it was a global thing too. It was it was phenomenal. How much it did bring down. I mean, I think it brought down .gov.uk.
Oh wow. So the whole domain. Awesome.
Apparently so. It brought the BBC down, obviously. Reddit, eBay. So you and I were talking about it last night, and it was Fastly, which I've never heard of. And you're going, "What's Fastly?" I'm going, "I don't know what Fastly is." But Fastly brought the whole frigging internet down.
There'll be some heads rolling there, I'm sure.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I'll tell you what I'm thinking it is, because I read what they said it was, and they said, it's a configuration error in the cloud, but as we know, that means on a server somewhere. What I personally think has happened, and I could be totally wrong, of course, is that there was some devs making changes of some kind, and they pushed a pull request straight into master rather than actually being approved and put it in the dev branch still.
Yeah.
So for anyone outside that doesn't understand the language I just used, then I'll make it really easy. So you have a development environment where you test all your stuff and then see if it works, and if it doesn't, you don't put it into a production environment where we all use every day. And so I'm surmising that is what they did do. And they fixed it within an hour. So, but I guarantee they won't tell it what it is. You won't answer.
Exactly. It's either that or someone just pressed the wrong button on their coding on the router or somewhere.
Yeah. But you'll never get the raw reason. They won't tell you. No. Hey, look, I'm just going to do a quick rundown on what's on tonight's show. Look, we've got COVID-19 stuff, quite a lot of COVID-19 stuff, but we won't go forever on that, but we do have quite a bit. I've got great people that did stuff this week. We are going to be focusing on Vincent Lingari and the Mabo situation as well, which was celebrated last week, I believe, the anniversary of Mabo. So we'll have a bit of a chat about that. Science this week, we've got some good stuff in science. They've discovered another dinosaur in Queensland that is the biggest one they've ever found in Australia. It's 30 metres long. So I think Wency's going to talk about that one. And I've got some stuff on how the vaccine's actually deployed by Amazon Web Services in the States. And that's actually quite interesting. Even if you're not a geek, it's quite interesting what they've been doing with computers in the cloud to what they used to be able to do, which was not be able to do anything with the computers in the cloud. And then to finish it all off, Beerducation, Wency's favourite segment. He loves it. He asked for it weekly. I have to pull him back. I was nearly going to say something else there, and that was not going to be good for listening. So I'm glad I didn't finish that sentence the way it was going to go.
I'm glad you pulled back.
Yes, lucky, very, very lucky that I did. So so Wency, we've had a wee natter there. Anything else going on your way there?
I just got to thank you for sending up the winter chill up to Queensland these last couple of days and the next few days coming up. So thanks very much.
My gift to you. My gift to you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. As you can see, I've got my beanie on inside the house. So
I've got my tracky tops on.
I know, it's funny. A week ago, you're just sitting there smiling, just being very sanctimonious in your t-shirt. Oh yeah, look at me. Yeah, you're freezing your ass off. That's it.
I had to turn on the heater on before, so that's how cold it got.
Yes. Well, we have the bloody thing on 24/7 down here. It's killing my bank account. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
it's not great. It's not great. But the good news is, we're going to talk about COVID anyway very soon.
Yes.
But the good news is, we'll be out of lockdown as of tomorrow night. So that's good.
Well done. Good on
you.
Boo!
We can't go to Faraday this weekend. That's not good.
No, that's not good.
No.
It's just over 25 Ks.
Yes, apparently we can go 25 Ks. We'll have to find what's decent 25 Ks away. We go north, there won't be much decent 25 Ks away.
No.
We're gonna have to go somewhere. Actually, talk about that. Ness is gonna have to do her shot in Sunshine because she couldn't get a jab close up. Couldn't get an appointment. No.
Well, Sunshine's not too far away for you, but.
No, it probably feels further than it is, but I think it's 15, 20 Ks, 1975. I'm not sure, but
how did you know that's the year we're living in Brisbane? Come on.
I just took a stab in the dark, my friend. A stab in the dark. Well, as I said, we've got lots of interesting stuff coming up in COVID, so we might as well get onto it. Countdown! Yes, it is. COVID countdown. Yes. You go ahead, Wency. I know you've got some stuff there.
Yep. Just to start off with, I am now half dosed up. I got my first Pfizer jab on Sunday at Rockley Showgrounds, south of Brisbane. So that was quite a great experience. I've got to give 2 thumbs up to Queensland Health who are doing the rollout for many people out here in Brisbane and Queensland. It was all very well organised, so I was pretty happy with that.
It's better you give 2 thumbs up than they do.
Oh, exactly, for sure. I don't want to know where that's going to go either. So,
no, it's not a prostate exam, so you're all right. No, just a jab.
Yeah. On the plus side, no reactions, just sore in the arm.
Really? No. Oh, wow. Nothing at all.
Yeah, nothing at all. So I got back to my push-up challenges today.
So, how'd you go?
Good. Easy. No pain in the arm.
No pain in the arm.
So
I think it was 135 today.
I'll do another 60 when I at the end of this show.
Yeah, I think I got 5 to go. So I miscounted.
Yeah. Did you?
Yesterday was a bad one. 209. That was tough.
Yeah, yesterday was bad for me. I didn't get much.
But so I had my jab a couple of weeks ago too.
Yeah, you did.
AZ jab, and I thought it was interesting because I took some information back from the jab, and I just found it really interesting. I was nearly almost going to put this in science, but it's just got some other stuff to do in science. So, so how it all works, if people want to know, the vaccine can prevent people from becoming ill from COVID-19, blah, blah, blah. But what a lot of people think is that AstraZeneca and any other vaccine that we use actually injects the virus into you. And as my 17/18-year-old daughter will attain to, that is 100% incorrect. What it contains is a genetic code for an important part of the SARS-CoV-2 virus called the spike protein. And that's carried into the cells by a harmless common cold carrier virus called the adenovirus.
Okay.
And then your body then makes a spike protein and uses it to learn to recognize the fight against SARS-CoV-2 virus. The adenovirus has been modified so it can't replicate once it's inside the cells. This means it can't spread to any other cells and cause any other infection. How smart are these people making vaccines?
Scientist. Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's just... And my daughter was...
human miracle. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. I love it.
Oh, and my daughter was explaining it all to me, and she was getting very excited because she loves biology, and she was just like, oh, and I was having a chat with her about it. Now, unlike you, the AZ does have a few side effects, and hence why a few people were getting a little bit antsy about getting it. And some of those side effects are pain, swelling, tenderness, redness, itching at the injection site. Didn't really have that. Tiredness, definitely had that. Knocked me out for pretty much a day and a half.
Almost 2, because we were going to do the show and we had to postpone twice.
Oh, yeah, I was, no, not good. Headache, a little bit. Nausea, tiny bit. Fever and chills, yeah, definitely fever and chills.
Yep.
And just a genuine feeling of not very good.
Wow.
Not feeling good. Excuse me. But the interesting thing was I looked in here everywhere and I couldn't find any side effect that said dodgy teeth.
What? Dodgy teeth? Oh,
hurty jaw. No, I don't know.
Were you tense about it all? Were you just...
Wow, I don't know. But it's weird because I was fine. I was totally fine, like, before I had the jab, like, mouth-wise. I'd been to the dentist, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks before I think I had the jab or something. And he said to me that probably in a couple of weeks your mouth's going to feel a bit weird because, we've done a bit of cleaning. Not drilling or anything, but just they do this horrible thing, which I can't stand now, which is... it's like a needle with an engine on it, and it's just in there all the time. And
don't do that sound.
It's about. I know you love dentists. I do too. I love it too. Anyway, I love that sound. Which is, I hate that sound. So,
I don't know anyone who likes it.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But anyway, so I had that, and then I had the jab, blah blah blah, and then and lo and behold, I started getting, I did. It was like really uncomfortable, weird pain in one of my teeth up the top. And I couldn't really work it out because I haven't had any, toothache, nothing like that for the whole time for, I don't know, all the way through COVID. And I'm pretty damn good with my teeth, how I look after them, etc. So anyway, long story short, I don't know. But they've been a little bit weird ever since. Like they're sort of coming down now and getting back to normal. But I had some weird sensations in my mouth for a while that I couldn't really, I couldn't really explain. It's nuts. It's crazy. Yeah. Oh, well. Have you got any other COVID? Sorry?
Yeah, I do.
Go for it, my friend.
So just continue on with the jab that I got. The nurse was telling me that she was doing about 100 jabs a day and she was on a 12-day shift. And she kept saying,
"Oh wow!
Just think of the money, think of the money, think of the money." And I said, "I don't blame you. Probably good for you." But and I did some calculations, and I thought, if you're doing 100 a day, there's approximately 30 booths in this hall. At 100 a day, that's about 3,000 a day, or 36,000. No, what is it? 21,000 a week, and that's just at one facility. So. Really, if we could ramp it up across all the states, we could really get COVID vaccines out to everyone. So,
absolutely. Well, we've done. I think we've done close to 600,000, if not more, in Victoria now.
Just in Victoria, I think we're 300 something. So population. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
go on.
No, I was just going to say the short circuit lockdown just basically kicked everyone's ass, and they went and got vaccinated. Yeah. So before the government was giving 100,000 vaccines a week. That's what they're allotting as their sort of deployment total. But what was happening was so many people were turning up, and as you can imagine, although they were getting 100,000 a week, they weren't doing 100,000 a week, so they still had stuff left over.
Yeah.
So one of the weeks they did 140,000 in 1 week.
Wow, amazing!
Which is well, it's a lot considering and compared to how many they were doing. So,
do you know the breakdown? Do you know the breakdown of vaccinations being given out at state-run vaccination hubs compared to GPs and all the other facilities?
Yes, so that's the whole issue. 70%, I think it is, of the allotment of vaccines is going to GPs, which the feds are trying to say
20 or 30 a day.
Well, that's my point, and they're trying to say this is how we always do vaccines. This is no, it's not. No. We go to pharmacies. Yeah. We go to work, and they give you a flu vaccine throughout your whole work. Someone goes there. So there's all these different ways, and none of them had anything to do with going to a doctor.
No.
Exactly. Do you know what I wonder, though? I wonder if you go to the GP to get your jab, do you pay for a consultation to go there as well?
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. I haven't really.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hope not.
You and me both.
Otherwise,
Otherwise,
that's just not going to incentivize anyone to go to the GP.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
No. Yeah. So I was going to say as well that Northern Territory and WA have opened up their vaccination program to more people, more age groups.
Yes.
Northern Territory is 16 years and older can get the vaccine, and they're setting that up. WA, I think, was from 30 plus.
Yeah.
Starting soon. We're doing 40 plus. You guys are doing 40 plus. So
well, we started and everyone
followed.
Yeah, everyone else sort of jumped on it. Which
no, we don't want to be like Melbourne.
No, well, but that's the interesting thing. I mean, it's like we have been, unfortunately, we've been the canary in the coal mine for the rest of the country.
That is so
pretty
true.
much most things. But that's probably one of the biggest reasons that this lockdown didn't go any longer than it sort of needed to, because the contract tracing in this particular case was really, really good.
It's been world class now.
Absolutely.
Victorian contact tracers have become a lot better since lockdown 2.0.
Oh yeah, the whole systems have been better, and it's not just Victoria saying that. I mean, you've even got the government saying that.
The feds,
But it was interesting though. You had ScoMo come out the other day and say, we need to release those restrictions straight away. And then the opposition started saying that as well. And you're like, oh, God, seriously, we're going to go down here again, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's all right for you to shut up all the borders of Australia. Don't let anyone in.
Yeah.
But if the state has to do the same sort of thing because they're trying to protect their people, it's a completely different argument. I don't understand that. Don't understand that line of questioning, as it would. Look, I've got a bit more on COVID, but I'm probably not going to go there because we're already at 24 past 20, which would mean, in normal people's language, 24 past 8. On a balmy evening, it's a balmy, but I was going to say it's a balmy 3 degrees outside, but I realised that's not. No, I've realised that's not the temperature. That's my pop-up blocker. So, it's 13, not 3.
13, not 3. Right, okay. Probably feels like 3 outside.
Well, it's pretty warm here. I probably don't need the beanie actually, so I'll lose the beanie. I look like I'm bald now, but that's all right. It's okay.
No,
I've got plenty of hair, but you just can't tell because it's all grey. So good. So I do have some more COVID stuff, but we don't have time for it. So it's going to be time for this.
Hi, and welcome to Great People That Did Stuff.
Yeah, so this week for great people that did stuff, we are focusing on Vincent Lingari, and we're focusing on, I don't want to say the Marbo Man. Have you got the information there? Oh, it's Eddie Marbo. What am I saying?
Marbo. Yeah,
Eddie
Eddie
Marbo.
Marbo.
Sorry. I apologise, seriously. And they celebrated, I think it was June the 3rd, which I believe was last week, another anniversary of Mabo. And Mabo's all about land rights. And the land rights actually started way back with a man called Vincent Lingari. And I was actually going to find a tiny bit of, I did find it yesterday, but it's gone now, which was Paul Kelly's From Little Things, Big Things Grow. As you can tell, that's the name of our
show.
Excuse me, from the name of our show. So I'll just see if I can quickly get that up very quickly. And we can get just a little bit of that. And then I'll give a bit of context what we're talking about. So if it decides, here we go.
There we go.
Were working, nothing but rations, but once they had gathered the wealth of the land, daily depression got tighter and tighter.
The song's all about Vincent Lingari. What we'll do is we'll put a link in the show notes to that particular YouTube clip. It's really good. It's got the song, plus it's got a whole bunch of sort of clips that go with the song, so you can see Vincent Lingari, you're next to Gough Whitlam with the sand going through and all that sort of stuff. So
a big good video to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So Vincent Lingari accepted the crown lease to his ancestral lands on behalf of the Gurindi community from the then Prime Minister of Australia, Gough Whitlam. This historic act was forged through the symbolic pouring of a handful of soil with the words, Vincent Lingari, I solemnly hand to you these deeds as proof in Australian law that these lands belong to the Gurindji people, and I put into your hands of the earth itself a sign that this land will be the possession of you and your children forever. So that simple act was has come to symbolise the government's recognition of Aboriginal land rights, and it was taken a step further with Eddie Mabo that Wentz will talk about in a minute. And its documentation was cleverly constructed by Bishop. The formalities already had taken place in a nearby shed. However, sensing the inadequacies this offered, Bishop requested that Lingari and Whitlam repeat the hand back outside, providing a far more evocative backdrop to this significant event. So basically, they're saying that it had already happened somewhere in a shed, but then they took it somewhere for a better photo opportunity, pretty much. In 1966, Gurindi had walked off. And this is a really interesting and very, very important part, why it happened, how it happened. So in 1966, the Gurindji had walked off Lord Vestey's Wave Hill Cattle Station. And if you listen to the Paul Kelly song from Big Things, Little Things, Big Things Grow, you will hear all about Lord Vestey, and you'll get the lyrics for that as well if you're interested. It's a fantastic song, worth listening to, just because he's a fantastic storyteller, so you get a little bit more as well. The station to protest against poor wages and living conditions, now a famous part of Australian history. This strike also sought the return of Gurindji's ancestral lands, and this was the first such case recognised by Australian law. So Bishop's vision to photograph the subjects from an Indigenous perspective heralded a significant shift in documentary photography in Australia and paved the way for future generations of Indigenous photographers such as Michael Riley, etc. And his groundbreaking work in taking control of the lens. So, so Bishop was the person that was behind the photo, etc. And that's basically what the photo opportunity was about and what the story's about. But as I say, listen to the Paul Kelly song and you get a really good appreciation of what that is all about.
Yeah, interesting. And did you know that he also recorded a song back in 1971 with Gururi Unipingu and Ted Egan? It is available on Spotify.
Paul Kelly did.
No, Vincent.
Oh, Vincent Lingari.
Vincent, yeah.
Oh,
Vincent
wow.
Lingari,
Wow.
Galaroi Unipingu and Ted Egan.
Unipingu, yeah. He would have been young. Galaroi Unipingu in 1971.
1971.
Jesus, he didn't die that old.
No.
So,
wasn't he in a band?
yeah, he was in Yothu Yindi.
Yindi,
He was the lead. He was the lead singer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's They did a song in 1971, so he would have been a young.
Yeah, he would have been. Wow, you'll definitely have to put that in the show notes, Wednesday.
Mm.
I haven't even heard of that. You'll have to get that link in there for sure.
Yep, definitely.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I'll continue on from that. So Eddie Mabo, or Eddie Koiki Mabo, is his full name. He was born in 1936 in Torres Strait on the Murray Islands. So he came from an island called Mer, and his mother had passed away.
Oh, he's not. Sorry, I apologise. Go for it.
No, go on.
No. I was going to ask you about to answer the question. Go for it. Sorry.
Okay. His mother passed away soon after his birth, and so was adopted by Uncle Benny and Auntie Mago Mabo, which was in line with Islander tradition. So obviously, from that very young age, they were already living their culture and things like that. So
yeah, definitely.
So it's taught from a very young age the importance of respecting other people's lands, and these were the strong cultural roots that became part of his later challenge when he took on the government for legal land rights. He moved to Townsville in 1959, held various jobs, including working on pearling boats, cutting cane on the sugar farms, and a bunch of other jobs. He married an Australian-born South Sea Islander, so she would have been one of those Pacific Islanders who would have been brought over.
For cutting. Yeah, that makes sense.
To work on the sugar cane. So so he ended up marrying Benita.
Nice bit of slave labour there. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Eddie, he was a skilled performer, he was a teacher, so he kept the customs going, he enjoyed art and things like that. So he was a very, very artistic person. So he was 15 years old. He spent 4 weeks learning all the laws of his local customs from Torres Strait Island. And learned how to behave towards other males, women, how to tend gardens, how to plant seeds in the right time of year, and things like that. For most of his life, he was just living on the land, of the land, for the land. So he then started getting involved in politics and community organisations. Became a leader for the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders in Queensland, served on many boards, and he was really involved in the 1967 referendum for the campaign to have Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people
recognised as human beings.
As human beings, yes.
Terrible. Can you believe that? Terrible. Can you believe that in a country that we would think was progressive, etc.? These beautiful people that have been here for, as we know, anywhere between 50 and 100,000 years, were treated as fauna and flora till 1967. That's unbelievable.
It's just really embarrassing to be an Australian, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. It absolutely is. I totally agree with you. So many good things, but that ain't one of them. Yeah,
that's exactly. We have moved along a lot since, but not enough and not quick enough.
Agreed.
So in 1972, his father became unwell, from tuberculosis, which is a common killer amongst Torres Strait Islanders at the time. So he...
Right. I'm not exactly sure what happened to he's been pulled off the broadcast. I'm not exactly sure why, but I think I can help you out a little bit on the Mabo situation. Why it's significant is that the Mabo case was heard over 10 years in Queensland Supreme Court and progressed through to High Court of Australia. Following what we call the Mabo decision, the Australian Federal Parliament passed the Native Title Act in 1993. That was a huge part in history when that Native Title Act was passed, because there were so many farmers that were up in arms that they couldn't do certain things on their property because they didn't have land rights to where they farmed. So yeah, it was a very torrid time. I remember 1993 going through the government. Wency, great to have you back. What the hell happened?
Don't know. I just went offline for a minute or a few seconds. So apologies for that, everyone.
That's all right. I just filled in on why he's significant, why you weren't here. Yep. So crack on.
Crack on. So so his father passed away. He got into he co-founded the first black community school in Townsville.
Wow.
So he wasn't happy with the way Education Queensland was approaching Indigenous education, so he set up his own school. He even offered to get paid half the usual salary to get it started, which he did. So that took off. Had a few, didn't take that many students, but at its peak it had 45 students enrolled at the school.
That's still more than the school that I grew up in.
Yeah, I bet. So he then started, when he was working at James Cook University, he was with a couple of other historians, and they were having lunch one day, and Eddie Mabo was talking about his land back on Murray Island, or Mer, and in his mind he kept thinking that was his land. But the two historians had to tell him and said, no, that actually belongs to Crown land. And so Eddie was quite surprised, shocked, disgusted, and quite was said, no way, it's not theirs, it's ours. And so he started, that's when he started going down the legal path of trying to recognise his homeland. And that's when the Mabo case got some traction from lawyers who got interested.
I was always under the impression, though, with Indigenous that they never say that they own land. They say they have rights to land, but they never say they own it as such.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I can't find the word I'm looking for, which is really, eternal managers of the land, sort of thing. So that's interesting that Eddie went that way.
Well, just to go back on my notes, he does say at one of his conferences that he was explaining the traditional land ownership and inheritance system that his community followed. So it is sort of ownership, but then it just gets passed on to the next generation, So I don't know if that's what was like everywhere, but that was his case.
Did you know that he sadly died 5 months before the historic decision came on the 3rd of June, 1992? That's, I mean, seriously, put all that effort in, and then, you can't.
10 years.
Oh.
Nearly 10 years it took, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the first case that was successful in overturning the myth that since colonisation, Australia had claimed terra nullius, or land belonging to no one. So that was a big victory for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. So that was a big thing for them.
Absolutely, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
And of course, we still must remember that we haven't ceded territory here. We've never started or created a treaty with our Indigenous either.
Well,
So.
Victoria has.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Victoria's got their own treaty.
Oh, right.
They're trying to get through and working with the Indigenous down here. Yep, definitely. But it's definitely going through.
Yeah.
Because they should have enough that they don't need to worry about the nut jobs on the other side.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're more worried about how Dan Andrews fell downstairs at the moment. So
yeah, exactly. And all the details. Yeah, we won't go into that.
No, because it's just absolute waste of time. Yeah. But anyway, the Mabo Star not only recognises Eddie's dedication, but pays tribute to the importance of the astronomy to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. So in 2015, 23 years after decision, Eddie Mabo was honoured by a Sydney Observatory in a star naming ceremony.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
And a fitting culturally significant moment in our nation's history, residing with the Sydney Southern Star Catalogue. So, yes, he was a star and had a star. Ooh. And it's a really good story. And they're still fighting for, as you know, land rights all the time. I mean, what happened there in Western Australia when which mining?
Was it BHP or was it?
I don't think it was BHP. I think it was Twiggy Forrest's mob, wasn't it?
I can't remember when they blew up Gorge.
But apparently Western Australia has not been strong enough with protecting their rights again. That I could see it happening again. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I really don't. I can only just imagine slightly how the Indigenous feel, and only a tiny bit. And I feel bad enough as it is. So I would imagine they must feel 50 times worse.
It's a shame that it's greed and profiteering that seems to win in all these things.
Yeah, it is. It's shocking. It's shocking. It's shocking. It is bad. It is terrible. And we must crack on. It's 42 past 8. We're doing well for time tonight, and we want to try to keep with that as much as we can, in our limits, as it were. And so I think it's yes. We've got to get on the beers, as it were. Yes, but we do have to have a bit of this before we do that. Yeah, we need to talk about a bit of science. I've got some cool stuff on science tonight that I will ram through, and I know you've got some awesome stuff as well. Do you want to go first? Or
I'll go first. Just quickly round out this article or this story that came out early this week.
All good.
There was a dinosaur that was found back in 2007 in outback Queensland near Cooper Creek in the Eromanga Basin, which has been studied since. And this week it was discovered or found that it was a new species to start off with. It is called I hate these words. Australotitan Cuperneris. I don't know if I got that right.
That's not a bad job. That's not a bad job.
It's a plant-eating dinosaur that
you didn't do a lot on dinosaurs when you were little, did you?
No, I failed Latin, so I was never good at Latin.
No, I wanted to be a paleontologist at one stage.
Did you? Well, I was studying geology at one point, so that would have led me to paleontology as
fossils
well. So,
and stuff.
Yeah, and all that. I was interested. I just couldn't say their names.
Yeah.
So this one stood between 25 and 30 meters long, 5 to 7 meters tall from the ground to its hip. It lived between 92 and 96 million years ago during the Cretaceous period. And
the old Cretaceous period. I know it
Cretaceous,
well.
Yes, it looked very much like a Brachiosaurus or an Apatosaurus, which is
Yeah,
one
the
of my
Apatosaurus.
favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would have thought, and I'm not sure about this, because I know when I did paleontology years ago, and I was so small, I used to think these dinosaurs were just, hundreds of meters tall and hundreds of meters long. And I don't know. Because we know that Brontosaurus never existed. That's a load of crap. That was just on Flintstones. But Brachiosaurus and the Apatosaurus and those sort of things, they did exist. And do we know how long they were, compared to this Australian one?
No, but I'm guessing they would have been roughly the same size because, like you said, from memory, I remember they were quite big. Those. Apatosaurus.
Yeah.
Not obviously bigger than a T-Rex because they were shorter but musclier.
Yeah. Spot on.
But yeah, these bigger ones would have been around the same length, I reckon, the same size. Just the long necks and everything else.
Look, now, I'll tell you what's really interesting, hey? Really interesting. So, what are we talking about? The Australia Loris Titan Copernicus or something?
Yeah, something like that. Cooperennis.
Cooperpedi.
Titan. Australo. Yeah, whatever.
Cooper's IPA.
Just Cooper for short.
Well, old Coops, he is bigger because the Brachiosaurus is estimated to have been between 18 and 21 meters.
Wow.
They're saying this thing is 30 meters. So that is far out huge.
That is massive. That's almost double.
It is. Yeah, wow. Well, 18 to 21, getting near it. Yeah, no, spot on. It's 2/3 anyway, or 3/4, whatever.
1.5 times.
Yeah. That is big. That is big.
So
and how many millions?
One of the biggest.
Yeah. How many millions of years did you say on that one?
92 to 96 million years ago.
92 to 90. I wonder if there's any indigenous around then. I mean, I know they've been around for a very long time, and they keep having more discoveries, and I'm waiting for this. They've been around for a million years. I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure. But
I'm sure there's enough. We could find some fossils or evidence.
So, yeah, it's interesting, the Cretaceous period. I mean, 90 million years. That's nuts.
And they also paleontologists also found some crush marks on the bones, suggesting that after it had died, it had been trampled by other sauropods.
Wow!
Yeah, so I wonder if it was an area of lots of those big dinosaurs, and they just were roaming everywhere on the continent.
That is fascinating. I bet you they'd be pretty excited up there. That's a pretty exciting find. There'd be a lot of because they found a lot of dinosaurs in America. They found a lot of really good dinosaur remains, etc. in America. So it's good to get one back.
Yes. And there's quite a lot of dinosaurs in that area around Winton, and Cooper Creek.
Is this Queensland?
Yeah.
And you're not just talking about the ministers either.
No.
Just gonna time that. Get the boom tish in. Get that in there. Just actually getting my timings this week to make things easier for myself. Okay, beautiful. That is excellent. Fascinating stuff. I love it. Science is awesome.
Have you got anything today, mate?
I do. I always do, and I definitely do this time. This is an interesting one because Amazon Web Services, for people that don't know, is basically a company that do many clouds services in the cloud, which basically means that they offer you a service that you could run on your own data center, but they will do it for you and they will take all the headache out for you. Well, that's what they say. I work in AWS. It's not quite that easy, but a lot of services that they do offer are particularly good. And one of the ones they do offer is that they have been working with companies in the States to deploy all of their vaccines. And because they've been working with AWS, i.e. the different companies, because it's different in the States. You don't just have a Fed-run well, you don't have a Fed run one here either, but in the States, all the states, each state does it themselves. And I think even at times it could be each shire might even do it. They're so segregated over there. They're called the United States, but that really couldn't be further from the truth at times.
Divided States of America.
Yeah, the divided states of America. Exactly right. Exactly right. So anyway, in the divided states, there's many good companies working with AWS, and they're working on electronic lab reporting, system epidemiology systems, and contract tracing. We've talked a lot about all of that here. Well, AWS has been ramping that up and helping them out in America. And the idea is that their systems, the legacy systems that they normally have, to make them bigger, because this is such a huge, we're talking, 300 million vaccines. I mean, actually it'd be more than that. It'll be, probably 200, 400 million, something like that, because 100 million probably won't get vaccinated because they're idiots. But that's only my opinion. Anyway, so what they found was, when they actually started doing this, what they found was how much the health system was absolutely just creaking under the under development, under funding of their health system for so long. Even with Obama, I mean, he was putting money in, but Trump came in and he just ripped things out when it came to healthcare and all the rest of it. And so when this came around with the pandemic, they weren't ready. They absolutely weren't ready. Their systems were shot. Their systems were so old, just not funny. So anyway, AWS have come in, and they've basically in 3 or 4 weeks just got them to move their whole system into the cloud and then be able to scale out really, really fast. Wow. And some of the stuff they've been doing, as I said, is epidemiology, contract tracing, some of the stuff else that they've been doing is they've got what they call multimodal call centers, which means that you can get a heap more people a heap faster on the phone in these call centers to line up for their vaccines, etc. Whereas before, they only had a certain amount of people that could sit in a chair in a room, and they didn't have the space. As I said, they just couldn't scale out as fast. So with AWS coming in, they've just sped up the whole vaccine situation. So in America at the moment, they're nearly 60% fully vaccinated.
Amazing.
It is amazing. There's 330 million people there. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy stuff. So, and one of the biggest things that Biden's done, President Joe Biden has done, is he's allowed them to use the APIs to, which is application program interface. Basically, it's just a situation. He's allowed them to be able to use a system whereby before, I don't think they had any authentication to use it. They weren't allowed to, or something along those lines, to be able to publish all these appointments, which they couldn't do before. They didn't have the, and one, the right hand wasn't talking to the left hand sort of thing. Yeah. So this has made such a difference. And I'll finish on this one because we're definitely running out of time and we're over time anyway. But the last one here is all about data analytics. And as you know, big data is all about massive amounts of data going in so many different companies now. Well, one of the things that they couldn't match up before was new cases with immunization data and lab report data. So all of those three things were always separate. So they were diagnosing them separately. Yeah. But with AWS, what they've been able to do is make what they call data lakes, which is, again, it's just a big server where you get lots of storage and you're able to feed a whole bunch of data in. And in this case, you're feeding immunization data and lab report data for the first time, and then analyze against each other and with each other to find out different information that, could help them with new vaccine rollouts and the information they get from that. Well, they've never had these opportunities to even do this before, and that's because of the way that AWS has worked with the lift and shift and the scale out and the speed, etc., etc. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty fascinating. That something that a lot of people use every day, and as we just talked about yesterday, they run a lot of the websites as well. So, because their back end, their storage is so cheap that things like BBC and etc. are on them. So, something we use daily. It was just really interesting to know that that's how they're doing their deployment of the vaccine.
Yeah.
But
so
go for it.
Anyway, no, I was just going to say, with the analysis, is that machine learning, AI?
Yes, it will be absolutely AI.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. So anyway, yeah, I thought that was pretty fascinating. So that was excellent
Fantastic.
science segment.
Thanks for that.
That
was great.
You're most welcome. As you are most welcome for this. I know it's a sound that is very much close to your heart.
Yes. Where is Dan Andrews? We miss him on TV.
Yeah, well, he's probably still laid up. He's still probably laid out. But then you've got those subtle tones of just, oh, it's a lovely sound.
It is.
So have you got yours next to you?
I
do.
Beerducation?
All right. Well, you crack on. I'll get mine.
Yep. Okay. All right. So for this review, I have a modus operandi, which is a Queensland-based beer. No, sorry, my mistake. It is a New South Wales beer. So the one I'm reviewing is the Former Tenant Red IPA. It's an independent family-run brewery, started in 2017, located in Mona Vale, about 30 k's north of Sydney. It's been around. This actual beer, the Red IPA, has been around for about since 2014. It's won various awards along the way. It's across the nation, so it's highly rated. Not much has changed apparently with the recipe over the years, but it uses Mosaic and Galaxy hops, which can give it aromas of passion fruit and mango, balanced with some malty goodness, which adds some caramel flavour.
What did I miss?
Just me describing the beer before I open it. So
you haven't opened it? Okay, cool.
No, just so you can quickly catch up. It's the modus operandi.
Oh,
it's
interesting.
It's called the Former Tenant Red IPA.
Yes. Wow.
It's got a blood alcohol level of 7.8%, and this is 8%. I'll be going to sleep quite quickly tonight.
Yes, you will.
That's in a small can of 375 ml, which says 2.3 standard drinks.
In one can. Holy
just in
crap.
one can. According to Modus's product description, the beer can be matched with the following food pairings: barbecue meats, buffalo wings, king prawn salad, and poached pears.
You just made me really hungry because I love buffalo wings.
Oh.
Yes, I've had Indian, and that was lovely. But gee whiz, you made me hungry then.
One thing
Buffalo wings.
One thing I like about this brewery is that they are 100% green energy. So fully powered by green energy. So
very good.
While there's energy. All right. So
that's brilliant.
Let's see how good this is. It's so great, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Just for those not watching, just pouring the beer.
Oh, wow. What a fantastic color.
Isn't it? And I think I learned something new during the week. The oats, the malt is what gives it the head, the big head,
beautiful.
Standing. So and that's all right.
What I love about that, Wency, is that the way you poured that, because I don't know if you remember, but when you were growing up, if you ever saw a bloke pour a beer out of a bottle, they would always put it into the side of the bottle. Always into the side.
Always, yep.
So that you got no head whatsoever.
No head. Yeah, what's the point?
So it looked like that.
Yeah. Yes. Like a flat Coke.
Yes. And this is very flat. And I can't tell you, cheers. I can't tell you much about this at all, and so it'll be really fast. I mean, we're well over time anyway, but all I can tell you is that my dad made it back in 2016.
Oh, wow.
I've got absolutely no idea how much alcohol's in it. It's probably 5% plus, I would have thought.
Yeah. How's it taste, though?
It's very flat. It's very flat. It's not particularly tasty, but I am definitely going to finish it. I don't recommend anyone else have one.
Cheers to your dad.
Thanks, man.
for making the beer.
Yes. Oh, he's actually made some crackers. This isn't one of them, but he has made some crackers.
Is it because it's old now? It's gone past its use-by date?
Yeah, I don't know. 16, that's 5 years. How long does a beer keep? I don't know.
Months?
I don't know. How long does a beer keep? How long was that?
Months.
Well, yeah, he made this at 16, so I don't know.
According to this one, I think it says by December this year is best.
It probably says consume within 3 days.
And within 10 minutes of opening.
Well, people, I hope you've enjoyed that. I've had a fantastic time as usual. And we've got a bit of a different outro this week. Okay. Just slightly different.
Oh,
but
different.
Very different, but but it's still the same, but same but different, as they say. Same but different. Yeah. No idea what's going to be on the show next week. I don't know.
We haven't made up our mind yet. We'll see what happens during the week.
Yeah. Who knows? The week is young, and I have a Monday off where I can't do good.
Can't go anywhere.
No, that's great. Really, really good.
We'll see what happens in the next 6 days.
Yes, we will.
Before we go live. We'll do that. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I'd probably give it 4 out of 5 blurts.
Oh, nice. Nice. I'd probably give this, maybe 1.
1? Just 1 for the effort.
Yes, 1 for the effort, definitely. I don't recommend it for anyone. Anyway, it's good night for me.
And it's good night for me.
Later, people.
Bye.